so tonight is all about 5D, judgment-free, and I'm going to begin the evening by reading this from Lao Tzu. If you don't know Lao Tzu, check out Lao Tzu, the Tao Te Ching. Lao Tzu is an ancient ascended master. He has phenomenal wisdom to share. It's very simple, very powerful. I want to read a couple of bits from him. When people see some things as beautiful, other things become ugly. When people see some things as good, then other things become bad. Being and non-being create each other. Difficult and easy support each other. Long and short define one another. High and low depend on each other. Before and after follow after each other. And then another little short one that really applies tonight. It says, the Tao doesn't take sides. It gives birth to both good and evil. A master doesn't take sides. She welcomes both saints and sinners. I want to read that again. So that word Tao there just means the divine. The Tao doesn't take sides. See, that's the essence of being judgment-free, not picking sides. The Tao doesn't take sides. It gives birth to both good and evil. The Master doesn't take sides. She welcomes both saints and sinners. All right, let's dive in. So I'm going to share some of my notes that I spent just dedicated meditative time before every Sunday night bringing to you. So here's some things I want to share. 5D, judgment-free. There are 3 key shifts that happen when we're moving from the 4th dimension, being a 4th dimensional being primarily, to being a 5th dimensional being primarily. So I know you hear us a lot of talk, maybe not even just hear about being 5D. And you might think, what is that? What does that mean? 4D, 5D, 3D. I'm going to give you a nutshell here, and then we're going to dive in on it. So 3D is the material realm. It's what you can see, taste, touch, feel. It's your body, your hair, your shirt, your chair, your computer, or your phone in front of you. It's your material realm. 4D is the realm of thought and emotion. It's the part of you that is completely unique and different than anyone else on the planet, because you have been uniquely shaped by where you were born and to whom and when, and the things, the thoughts and conditioning that have happened in your life, what your parents taught you, what your teachers taught you, how you associated with your communities. So your 4D is your very unique and personal perspective. That's the realm of 4D. We can create heaven in 4D, in between our 2 ears, and we can create hell there and all kinds of things in between. 4D. 5D. What is 5D? The 5th dimensional part of you is the part of you that is eternal, that's lived likely many, many hundreds of or even thousands of lifetimes. It's the part of you that's eternal. It's the part of you that is God. It's the part of you that's perfect, flawless, blameless, that knows all, that has access to all of consciousness. It is your consciousness. That's 5D. So we're going to talk about some major shifts that have to happen for you to cease being primarily a 4th dimensional person or living from your 4th dimensional perspective into being primarily a 5th dimensional being. And those 3 shifts are releasing fear. No fear in the realm of 5D. Releasing judgments. No judgment in the realm of 5D. And releasing resistance, releasing fear, judgment, and resistance. Those are the 3 major shifts that you make when you stop being primarily 4th dimension and being 5th dimension. When you are solidly in the realm of 5th dimension, your 4th dimensional parts, your personality, your skills, your talents, all of that, they are simply like a glove on the hand of your fifth dimensional soul. Your higher dimensional self is the hand. Your fourth dimensional parts become the glove that can give expression to your soul, but they're no longer dominating your soul. So tonight we're going to talk specifically about judgments. So judgments come from the realm of our egoic mind. We talked last week about the egoic mind is that part of the brain that is the limbic system. It's the part of your physiology that helps you to survive and avoid pain. But because of the way life is on the planet right now, that part of our brain is way overdeveloped, which has resulted in this egoic mind, which causes us suffering. So these judgments come from the realm of our mind. And in this realm, there's this overarching judgment with millions of little judgments beneath it. That's something like this. There's not enough. There's lack. I'm not enough. I have to be fixed. He's not enough. She's not enough. The political system is not enough. The country is not enough. My bank account is not enough. My parents were not enough. You see, everybody and everything, all the nouns in 4D are not enough. So we're coming from a place of lack. Now, kind of a tricky little subtle aside in this area can be, it seems a little more positive, but it's just really more of the same as this. I could be more. I could be more. That's another 4D thought. I could be more than what I am. I could change how I am, how I behave, what I say, what I think, what I do. I could be more. They could be more. The system could be more. Things could be better. We could fix things. We could improve things. So this is just more of, but it's the flip side of the coin, you see, and it's still based on lack. I could be more because I lack something. Now, I'm not saying that this is all bad. 4D is a realm where we have self-development, personal growth, psychology, self-help, 12-step, all of those things. And I'm not saying that they don't have their place, because they can be a really key part of waking up and becoming aware, right? Having desire for something more. Okay, but we're going to take we're moving out of that though into this 5D realm. But before I talk about that 5D realm a little more, let me mention that in this 4D realm, there can be this subtle underlying principle of perfectionism. And it drives us to want to try harder. This perfectionism, try harder, try harder, try harder, try harder. Or it can cause us to give up because it's useless. We know we're not going to be perfect. This is a story of my life. All of my life up until some, recent years ago was all about this underlying perfectionism. I needed to try harder. And if I would just try harder and be more, then finally I would be loved and accepted. And what I learned, I wasn't aware of it at the time, but what I learned through the conditioning of my family and my religious beliefs is I learned that I could accept approval in place of love, because there just wasn't any real experience of unconditional love. So I accepted approval as a substitute. And the message to me was this love, this false love, if I wanted it, I had to earn it. And if I worked really hard, I could earn it, but then I would have to keep earning it in order to keep it, or it would be withdrawn. And that's not love. That's false. That's a lie. It's not love. It's the opposite of love. Okay. Now, in this shift where we're going from 4D to 5D, what happens is when we drop judgments, we're dropping the measuring stick altogether. And this is the elementary school teacher coming at me. I put my ruler here. The measuring stick, we just drop it. Drop it. We're going to drop the black and white, good and bad, right and wrong, less than, better than, under, over. We're just going to drop the whole measuring stick. That's what happens when we let go of judgments and begin to move into 5D. And so 5D is a state of, if you haven't heard these terms before, I encourage you to take some time to look them up. 5D is where we go into a state of what is called non-duality. That means everything is as it is. Everything is as it is. We accept it. We stop seeing things as good or bad, wrong or right, left or right, and so on. And this is going to be the whole problem with this next few months, 18 months that Judah talked about of shaking in America, is that most people have planted themselves on one side or the other. And so they're on one end of that measuring stick or on the other. And all of it is based on judgments that someone is right and someone is wrong. And so that leaves us stuck in a 4D place of judgment. So 5D is that state where sorry guys, I got a hair in my mouth. 5D is that state of being in acceptance of everything, all things, non-duality, the yin and the yang. If you know the yin and the yang symbol, man, that's a deep, deep symbol. Do you want to talk about that, sweetie? He's zoned out there. You want to tell him about yin and yang? Oh, he's so blissed out. You want me to come back to you?
Yeah.
He's way zoned out. He's blissed out. So good. Okay, this yin and yang symbol, the black and the white, and they flow together. See, they flow. That's when you look at that symbol, it looks flat when you see it on a page or on a screen. But in the realm of the spirit, it's not flat. It's like a spinning top. It's like a spinning globe where the black and the white are spinning, 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 spinning. And if you look at the black, there's a little spot of white in it. And if you look at the white, there's a little spot of black in it. And see, there's deep meaning in this symbol. It's telling us in every darkness, there is light. And in every light, there is darkness. But wholeness only comes when you can accept all of it together. So in 5D, it's just the I am. I am. You see, judgment wants to keep us stuck in this never-ending cycle of self-improvement, fixing the self-help, personal development, all of that. And while all those sound good, they can be just a new and different, seemingly shinier and better way to prop up or expand the ego. And that's not what we're doing here. We're not trying to pump up or expand the ego. We want to completely deflate the thing, right? And judgments, when they come from our egoic mind, they put an enormous burden on our heart and they paralyze our will, which is our ability to take action. So in 5D, we're learning to have discernment rather than judgment. We can see, we can discern, we observe, we know the truth, we have wisdom about what we're observing, what we're seeing, what we're discerning, but we don't judge it as good or bad. You see, it has this quality of indifference, aloofness, being unattached to an outcome or an opinion. You know what they say about opinions, right? So when you first begin to move into this 5D place where you drop the judgments, all of them, your mind is going to freak out. It's going to scream at you that you'd better step up and do something or everything's going to go to shit. And you'd better get yourself on the right side of the issue, because if you don't get yourself on the right side of the issue and add your resistance, your force, your might, everything's going to go to crap. You're going to lose control. And it will also your mind will tell you, well, that thing that's happening is evil and it should not be happening and you'd better do something about it. And so what happens is your mind will trick you into using force and resistance. And that is going to exhaust your divine energy. Judah's saying yes, yes. But when you step up into 5D, then you have real power, my friends, real power, you see. Real power where you are connected to all wisdom, all knowledge, all understanding. You are an observer and you are allowing all things to flow. You are allowing things to unfold as they are. So if we continue to embrace judgments, the good, the bad, and some of these judgments sound really good, then ultimately we're going to internalize them as rules about how we live our life. And those rules govern our internal and external lives. And then we're only able to create things based on these rules. You see, we make these internal agreements that we're going to keep the rules. Now, I had some pretty, excuse me, I had some pretty extreme rules when I came up. There was a lot of legalism in my home. I remember my first husband and his father, my father-in-law, had a joke that women should stay barefoot, pregnant, and in the kitchen. Ha, 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 ha. Okay, so these are really strong judgments about how, and my father also was a minister, and he believed that women should never teach a man because women shouldn't have authority over men. And if a woman had authority over a man, then she would definitely screw things up. And this was a deeply embedded belief in my heart. And I fell into agreement with that belief out of fear. I also had another really strong agreement, a conditioning, which is that divorce was evil. And that if people divorced, you know, that was like, you know, a ticket to hell. I mean, that was really serious affront. And so those beliefs, that conditioning, deeply affected me. They made me afraid to own my power. They made me afraid to operate from my soul, which is neither male nor female. And my soul is my God self. Your soul is your God self. You see, it is the part of you that is God. And that part of you is subject to no one but to God and the angels, you see. And you have authority over your fifth dimensional being and your fifth dimensional nature. I hope you guys like this Judah Angie tag team tonight. It's kind of fun. So we make all these internal agreements based on our conditioning and our upbringing, and even some of it is left over from past lives. And we keep the rules. And when we get old enough, we have internalized so much of this conditioning from our parents and our religious upbringing, or our you know, the world that we live in, the media, the culture. We've internalized so much of it that we don't need anybody to enforce the rules anymore, because we have our own mind becomes the critical parent. Our own mind becomes the judge, the jury, the jailer. Our own mind will work very hard to keep us in line with these rules that we've made agreement to. And we will continue trying to keep these rules because we want to get the rewards of this false love, approval, and acceptance. And we also keep the rules because we want to avoid punishment. We don't want to be rejected. We don't want to be disapproved of. We don't want to be cut off or kicked out. So we have a lot of internal motivation based upon fear, not upon love, that keeps us in line with these judgments, these rules, that keeps us on the straight and narrow, because we want to get the goodies, the rewards, and we want to avoid punishment. Okay. So we've made all these internal agreements that line up with our judgments. I'm too fat. I'm too skinny. I'm too old. I'm not old enough. I'm broke. I have too much. I'm not capable. He's not the right one for me. I made a mistake. I should have had that baby. I shouldn't have had that baby. I mean, the judgments can be, there's millions of them that we can make. And we line up with these judgments and agree with them. And the longer we agree with them and the more power we give to them, the more we become in bondage to them. And we do it all for 3 reasons. If you don't remember anything else I say tonight, I want you to remember this. We do them because we want to be safe. We want to be approved of or loved, and we want to be in control. So I want to stop right here and let's do a little work with Judah. If you're in a safe location, I encourage you to get still. And if you don't have time to address this right now, bookmark this and come back to it. Okay, we're going to play the Getting Free game with Judah. We want to start breaking the power of some of these agreements and judgments. Yes, here we go, dear. Can you let go of wanting and needing to be safe? Give me a yes or give me a no. Give it to me straight from your heart, not from your mind, but your truest feeling. And if you feel like saying a big old no, that's fine. I will accept that if it is honest. But I want to ask you again, can you let go of wanting and needing to be safe? Yes or no? And can you let go of wanting and needing to be safe? And can you let go of wanting and needing to be safe? And some of you, we hear you saying even now, well, Judah, I can let go of wanting and needing to be safe. If only you will promise me that you will keep my children safe or my grandchildren safe. Well, I'm going to ask you, can you let go of wanting and needing your children and grandchildren to be safe? Now, I'm going to explain to you why we're playing this game, and then we're going to continue on playing the game, because as long as your answer is no, as long as you insist that you must continue to need and want to be safe, what will happen is this: there is a resistance within you in your no, and this resistance is causing you to continue to attract things that cause your heart, your soul, to be unsafe. And in order to rise above that, in order to be in a place of true safety, you must let go of wanting and needing to be safe. Because the resistance, if your no, is keeping you from true safety. It is causing your ego and your other lower density parts to rise up to try to contrive and control and maneuver to get what you want. And so there's resistance. You must let go of the resistance in order to begin to ascend into your higher dimensional place. So we're going to play this game a few more minutes so that you can begin to let go of resistance. And there, in the neutrality, in the indifference, in the unattached place that this vessel spoke to you about, there is your freedom. 5D judgment free, 5D judgment free for you. Some of you, even the ones we are speaking to plainly, you know who we're speaking to you. You know we're speaking to you about your children. If you have judged that your children must be safe, then your resistance is creating this lack of safety for them. Because we can't get to work as long as you're controlling things. You must decide, do you want a source energy and all the vast angelic resources of heaven to step up and work on your behalf? Or do you want to maintain control in your lower nature? Because it can't be both. It's one or the other. Now, we're saying this with ever so much love, my dear, so much love for you and a desire to help. Because you see, if you really want to be of help, of service to someone you love, like a child or grandchild or a partner or brother or sister or whomever, if you really want to be of help, then you must let go of your helping. In your letting go of your helping, and you're releasing your helping, then you become of a place that you can be a true help. Okay, so let's continue on here. Can you let go of wanting and needing to be safe? Can you let go of wanting and needing to be safe? Now, we want you to continue working on with this question in days to come. And you will feel your no begin to soften and soften and soften until it becomes a heartfelt and an easy yes, yes, I can. Yes, I can let go of wanting and needing to be safe. And then 2 other questions here. Can you let go of wanting and needing approval? Can you? Can you let go of wanting and needing approval? You must continue to wrestle with this question. Wrestle. Let your soul wrestle with your ego and win and win. And you will find that you can say, yes, I can let go of wanting and needing approval. I can let go of wanting and needing safety. And I can let go of wanting and needing control. For you see, every issue that you're struggling with right now, every issue without exception can be boiled down to wanting and needing to be safe, wanting and needing love and approval, or wanting and needing control. When you let go of these, when you release them truly, 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 then you are free of your judgments and the judgments of others. All right, there you go. So you have the work, you know what to do there. So after we're absorbing enough of this conditioning from our parents, from religion, politics, all other sorts of systems of thinking and behavior, we've internalized all these judgments and these rules and these agreements. And all of this becomes like a living entity in our mind. It's almost like its own little being. And it's an unrelenting judge, and it persecutes us. It's like, I don't know if you've ever experienced, I know I have been a critical parent. Too many times, I'm embarrassed to say how many times I've been a critical parent. I learned this from critical parents. And this, we internalize it then. See, I internalized it from my mother, this demand for perfection. And from my father, the demand that I live according to every single line of scripture. And it bred so much fear in me. And so then it was internalized as this little critical parent that lived in my head, even when my parents were far away. And even after my father was dead, this critical parent lived in my head and worked very hard night and day to keep me in line. And this is what we're setting you free from tonight, my dears. We're setting you free from this critical parent. When this critical parent pops up in your head and tells you how to think, act, be, do, and so on, tell it to shut up. Yes. Love yourself. Have a laugh at it. Fire your critical parent. Fire it. Put it out of a job. Have a laugh at it and tell it to get a life. Tell it to get laid. Tell it to get over itself and move along and begin to love yourself. Be gentle with yourself. Care for yourself. Yes, 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 yes. Come above, up to your higher self, which loves you and treasures you at all times. And you must understand, dear, that until you can get to that place, we, Judah, are there for you. We are there for you to continue to love you, to continue to pour out our generosity and acceptance on you, whether you do it right, wrong, good, bad, ugly, whatever you do. We don't care if you're the president of the most important nation on earth, or if you are the most lowly, a prostitute in the dirt of the streets of India. We do not care. We love you exactly where you are and see your divinity. You are divine, my dears. You are divine. Fire your inner critical parent. Tell it to take a hike. Whew. So this internal judge has taken us into the courtroom. Our soul has brought our soul in shackles, in handcuffs, into the courtroom of our life. And this inner critical parent is acting as the lawyer. I'm speaking of the ego now, is like a lawyer that's constantly gathering evidence to convict. And we have to be careful, my friends, because right now, in the coming months, as Judah has said, for the next few months, be careful. Every time you watch media, you will be able to add more and more and more to your list to gather evidence to convict the side that you don't agree with, that you think is wrong, and so on. Be very careful. I'm asking you not to play this role, to divorce yourself from the role of the lawyer who is constantly gathering evidence to convict another. You know, and we do this in relationships, my friends. We do it all the time with each other, with our mates, our spouses, the people most important to us. We keep a roster of all the evidence, you know, and we convict them of, you know, of being guilty of these judgments that we've already decided. It's like a rigged, yes, it's like a rigged jury. It's like a rigged trial with where the outcome has already been decided. This is how it goes in your head. You think you know how people should live and how they should behave and what is wrong with them and what they should do about it. And it's all rigged because you've already decided that they are guilty. And this is what the ego is all about. Yeah, the judge declaring guilt before the trial has even begun, the jury evaluating and passing a sentence, and then the jailer that delivers punishment. Yeah. And, you know, our precious Don Miguel Ruiz, who is an enlightened being, if you haven't encountered him, when you have time, dig deep into his work and don't come out until you're transformed. But, you know, that's what humans do. That's unique. You know, an animal doesn't punish itself for making a mistake. If an animal makes a mistake, such as walking into a trap, it never does it again, right? Because it learns from its mistake, but it doesn't punish or judge itself for its mistake. But this is the unique characteristic of humanity, which is the overdevelopment of this limbic part of the brain, which causes us to punish ourselves over and over and over for the smallest of mistakes. Even if you've made really big ones like cheating on your wife, or I don't know, whatever it is that you think is the big one that you can't tell anybody, forgive yourself. Now, some of us, you know, we're trying to right all these injustices, things that we've done to ourselves, things that we've done to others, ways that we've played the judge, the jury, the jailer. But this is really important. Lean in. This is not how you fix it. You don't fix it by trying to be an attorney for the defense or by trying to be an impartial juror. Now, this is a step in the right direction towards more enlightened thinking, but it will exhaust your spiritual energies. If you try to be the attorney for the innocent, if you try to be the good, righteous judge or the impartial juror, you will wear yourself out because it's still in the 4D game. To be 5D free is to go out of the courtroom altogether and shut the door behind you and don't play any of those roles at all. None of those roles at all. So we're going to wrap this part of the evening up with a charge to you, a charge. We're going to, right now, where you are, lift you up, 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 up out of your 4D perspectives into your 5D reality. You are judgment free. There is no judgment. All is forgiven. You have been loved by all of heaven all along your journey. There is nothing you have ever done or could do or will do that will discredit you in the eyes of the divine. There's nothing you can do to derail yourself from your journey. You are perfectly loved as you are. Now let your soul expand, 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 expand into a place where you judge nothing or no one, nothing or no one, nothing or no one. And do not worry tomorrow or the next day or the day after when you are tempted to fall into judgment again and you hear yourself say a thing. Only be grateful for the awareness when you hear the judgment come from your mouth. Be thankful that you can release it quickly and come back up into your authority, your power and dominion as a judgment-free, higher dimensional being who loves all and accepts all. Loves all and accepts all. First, if that seems too daunting of a task, love yourself, my dear. Accept yourself as you are. You ready? Oh, I wish you guys, before you share, I'm holding Chuck's hand. I wish you could see his face. He's so caught up in glory. His whole face is just red as a cherry. It looks beautiful. Ready?
When you create a program, or when you get programmed to believe that everybody is out to cheat you, then your unconscious mind and your ego's job is to prove you right. So it will put you in situations where you get cheated. So you can say, I see, I'm right.
That's good. That's a word for somebody out there.
So if you stay neutral, then you won't program one way or the other.
Yeah, that's right. And that's exactly right, because some of us are wanting to create something different. We understand that we are the creators of our own reality. We understand that we're creating everything in our environment. And just knowing that and having the awareness of it is driving us bonkers, because we're still creating things that we absolutely don't know, don't want to create, and we don't know why. And what Chuck said is right. It is our judgments. If we have a judgment that people are cheaters or dishonest, then that judgment is actually drawing those cheaters to us. I remember once when we were talking with Judah about this issue of judgments, this example came up, and I'll share it because it's a powerful one. Well, let's say that you're a woman who, let's say your father cheated on your mother. Maybe he was quite a cheater and cheated on her a lot, and that really hurt you. See, these judgments come from pain and from hurt. And that's what I want to say to you. When you feel that judgment coming up in you, be compassionate for yourself, because these judgments come from hurt and pain, and you want to love yourself and heal that hurting part. So if you were, let's say, a young girl, your father cheated a lot, and that was very painful for you. And so you made a judgment, perhaps, all men cheat. Men can't be trusted. And so what happens is these judgments are like seeds in our heart, and the hurt and the bitterness, and it grows over time. And it might take decades for this seed to grow into a full-blown tree that's producing really bad fruit. But it will happen. The seeds, if they're not dealt with, they will grow, and they will ultimately produce bad fruit in our life. And so how that would look for that little girl, when she grows up, she might meet a wonderful man who loves her unconditionally and is very trustworthy and is honest and integrous and has no intentions whatsoever to cheat on her. But that judgment that she has will ultimately, over time, begin to defile him and erode his good intention, the intention of his heart to be faithful to her. And he may eventually find himself cheating on her, even though he really, truly was not that kind of person in the beginning. So you see, our judgments defile other people and cause them to behave and act in ways that they normally would not behave. Some of you, as I'm saying this, it's really quickening something to you. I encourage you, be aware, because other people's judgments can defile you. If you find yourself acting or behaving in a way that's really not in alignment with who you normally are, it could be because of a judgment. So when we judge other people, even when it happens in innocence, when we're children and don't even realize that this is a universal law, that if we judge someone, we become the thing we hate, or we reap it in a mate. We become the thing we hate, or we reap it in a mate. I have a personal example I've shared before. When I was young, my mother was very, very depressed at times, and it really hurt me. I remember one time when I was young, hearing her cry in the bedroom, and my dad was consoling her. She was crying and saying she didn't want to live anymore. And I remember as a little girl, I couldn't understand, obviously, I was so young, the dynamics of depression and what causes a person to feel hopeless like that. But I remember thinking in my heart, but if she loved me, wouldn't she want to live for me? And that was my childish way of understanding it. And so that hurt me, you see. So I judged her in my heart as a little girl. Now, when I got to be older, and I was a mom of 3 kids, and I was in some difficult situations in my home and became very depressed. And guess what? Then I was the mom. I was the depressed mom. And see, I believe that the universe allows that to happen to help us to release our judgments and forgive. And see, when I became a depressed young mother, I was able to forgive my mom. I understood what she went through on a whole new level, and I became willing to forgive her because I was reaping my judgment of her. So you reap it in a mate or become the thing you hate. That's what happens when we don't allow these judgments to come up in our awareness and allow them to be cleared.